my name is Keleka and I work at the Shreveport Library branch out in Vivian. And today I'm going to show you how to do a couple of stitches so you can do handcrafts if you would like to. So the first thing we're going to do is we're actually going to thread a needle. I already have a length of thread cut and I've chosen my needle and I'm just going to push it through the eye. Okay. And I'm going to tie it off by making a loop around my fingers and then basically rolling it shut. Now, the first stitch that I'm going to do is referred to as a running stitch because it basically runs forward. So you're going to want to start it off, pull your needle flush, go forward just a little bit because these are small stitches, and then go through your fabric. Then you're going to want to, on the back end, go down just a little bit, pull through, leaving a small gap, go forward just another teensy bit, then just repeat those steps until you have completed the line as you would like it. Again, going down just a little bit, pulling through, going down just a little bit, pulling through. Then for your next stitch, start just a little bit further down, pull through. And again, you want to keep these relatively small so that your pieces, if you're sewing multiple pieces together, don't move. Okay, and to tie it off, how I like to do it is I like to go to the last stitch I made before the one I'm at, go under it, and then make a knot with the thread. And I like to do that twice. Alternatively, you can just make a knot, but I found these to be a little bit easier to do and a lot more secure. Then once you're done, you just cut, and if you have enough thread, you can actually continue to use it for another purpose and push it somewhere safe, such as the sticker part on top of your thread spool. Now, the next stitch is what is referred to as a base stitch. It looks a lot like a running stitch, however, these are vastly far apart. So once again, you push your needle through, you pull it flush, and then you go down a considerable length and push it through. So the only difference between this one and a running stitch is that the stitches are further apart. One reason for this is a base stitch is mostly used as a temporary security, so that if you're just trying to see how well two fabrics might work together or see if you would want to keep up with a piece of fabric in particular, you would use them for that. Alternatively, you can also use this base stitch as what is referred to as a gatherer stitch, which, if they're loose enough, will allow you to pull your thread when you're towards the end and curl the fabric. So you're gathering it together. And again, how I tie mine off is I go towards the last stitch, go under, and make a knot. Now the next stitch we're going to do is a back stitch. It starts off highly similarly to the running stitch, except for these, as you can see, look like a continuous chain. So once again, we're just going to start all the way through. We're going to go forward just a bit, just like with the running stitch. Pull down, go forward just a bit. However, instead of going forward, we're going to go back. So once we have 2 going into 1, we're then going to make our 3rd stitch and then go back so it's going into where we left off at 2. Then we're going to start our 4th stitch and go back to our 3rd. And so on and so forth. Just going down just slightly down the line and always returning back to the previous stitch. Now this is a good stitch to use in case you're just trying to make a secure bond between 2 fabrics, because it's very hard to tear this one in case of various reasons. Though it does take a little bit of time to actually do it. And again, you can just go to the back of them and just sew a knot. Okay. The next stitch we're going to do is referred to as the blanket stitch. So first thing we're going to want to do is I'm going to fold the fabric over. Then I'm going to hide the knot. You do this by pushing through the fabric. Where the fold is are the 2 pieces. Tucking it down, and there you go. No knot. Now to start off, you're going to want to go to the opposite side and push your needle through. You're going to want to pull. However, before you finish pulling it flush, you're going to want to tuck your needle under the loop and then pull forward. Then you're going to go down a bit, pull your needle almost fully through, then take your needle and go through the loop. So you end up getting an edge similar to this. Like on some of the old school blankets you might have seen, because this is one of the stitches that it's made to be seen. So it's decorative in nature, and you can add on to it with other stitches as you would like. And just continue going down the line. And how I prefer to secure the blanket stitch once I'm done with it is actually to tuck it through the previous blanket stitch. So this will be my last stitch. And I like to go down to the stitch previously, go through it so the line overlaps, and then go back the opposite way to the stitch I just left and do the same thing. Alternatively, since this is flat at the bottom, I could have just shoved my needle down and hidden it that way. Now the last stitch we're going to do is referred to as the whip stitch. So again, I'm going to fold this fabric over. I'm going to hide the knot, just like with the blanket stitch. And just like with the blanket stitch, I'm going to go to the opposite side I started on. I'm going to pull through. Then I'm going to go to that side one more time. Pull through. Go over. Pull. Wrap it around. Try not to get a knot in my thread. Pull. Wrap it around. So you're basically whipping the thread and the needle around the two pieces. This is also a type of stitch that can be seen as well, depending on how neat you have done it and what colors complement your fabrics. And how I prefer to secure the whip stitch is to actually tuck it in regardless of how the fabric is itself in the project I'm doing, and pull it all the way through, and then go back under or back through it at a different spot and make it tucked. Then cut the thread flush with the fabric, wiggle a little bit, and the other piece will have a harder time coming through. And there you go. You've just learned how to do 5 basic stitches.